What's going on, Jerome's? Minnesota Vikings and superstar edge rusher Danielle "The Real Deal" Hunter are squaring off in a good old-fashioned standoff. That's right. Where Danielle Hunter, he skipped voluntary OTAs, he skipped mandatory minicamp, and things aren't being resolved anytime soon. And is he going to be holding out of training camp as he looks either for a contract extension or a trade? And of course, the issue has been Danielle Hunter's 5-year, $72 million extension that he signed back in the day. He is going to be 29 in October. He's still firmly in his amazing earning prime, and he's due a $4.9 million base salary this year with $500,000 in incentives. 5.4 if it maxes out is certainly far below what elite edge rushers are making around the league, so I don't really blame him. Also, here's the thing too. So Marcus Davenport, his new teammate on the Vikings, had half a sack last year. It was on Kirk Cousins in London. We made that joke several times, right? He went full Lance Armstrong on the bit. But he signed a 1-year, $13 million deal. So Danielle's base salary is 4.9. So Marcus Davenport with half a sack is making almost 3 times what Danielle Hunter is making on his own damn team, which is insane. And Danielle led the team in sacks last year with 10.5. He's only a couple seasons removed from back-to-back 14.5 sack seasons. And he missed all of 2020 with a herniated disc in his neck, as well as the pec injury in 2021. But last year stayed healthy and is revved up, ready to go, learning a new position, still getting it done. And also, Brad Spielberger from PFF, he pointed this out. Danielle Hunter, 36 total pressures on 3rd and 4th down in 2022, led the NFL. So pretty good for 99 problems, even as he's learning a new position and a new scheme. And the question is, in 5-6 weeks, what's going to happen at Vikings training camp? Is he going to hold out? Is he going to do this, that, or the other thing? Or is he going to show up and have a hold in? Who knows? But fines. Fines comes down to where with the new CBA, it's basically impossible to hold out, where fines incur very fast. It's on the team's prerogative to forgive them. Teams generally don't, as well as if he holds out for a certain period of time, his contract actually tolls, so it makes no headway there. But the Vikings only had a 2-day minicamp this year versus the 3, so Danielle is already out $50K in fines. He's also out $100K in a workout bonus that he passed on. And according to this, a player can be fined $50K a day under the new CBA at training camps. So if Danielle skips 10 practices, that's $500,000 in fines, which may not be forgiven by the team, which could be a little bit rough. But I understand that Danielle is looking for a long-term deal. For whatever reason, the Vikings they haven't got it done yet, even though Danielle, like we said, is still firmly in his prime. He's 28, going to be 29 in late October, and he's proven that he can be scheme-proof, and I trust Brian Flores to play to 99 strengths, and he's a guy and a true talisman on the edge, and he's a guy that should stay in purple. But for whatever reason, the Vikings haven't worked out a deal, and if the trade market isn't there, because I'm not giving away Danielle for free, because I think that would be a huge mistake by Kwesi, because if you're not getting at least a first and some change for Danielle, don't do it. Don't make that deal. And I think that there can be a spot where the Vikings can play some hardball because, like we said, Danielle is in the final year of his contract. He signed the deal. The Vikings have his rights, and if Danielle doesn't want to show up, he'll get fined to the hilt. And the Vikings, it is their prerogative to be like, hey, you have 1 year left on your contract. You're going to play here or nowhere else, or your contract is going to toll. But I do think that there can be some middle ground to be found and where everyone wins. And maybe the Vikings don't want to commit a long-term deal because they're concerned about maybe Danielle's health, even though he showed that he was fully healthy last year, or potentially long-term investments in Jefferson and Darisaw and Hawkinson, and potentially bringing back Kirk Cousins next year. Maybe they're worried about that. But a 1-year Band-Aid deal makes sense. $13 million base salary in 2023, which is the same as Marcus Davenport. $5 million in incentives. Now, it can be a mix of likely to be earned and not likely to be earned. But basically, if he's on the field and productive and the Vikings defense gets it done, he can max out those incentives. So if he does max out, $18 million in comp will be top 10 for edge rushers on a one-off 1-year deal. And then he would hit free agency in 2024 at age 29, firmly in his prime. And again, if he performs this year, he will get paid either here or somewhere else. We're talking about 20, 22, 25 million per season as a top tier edge rusher if he does hit free agency in his prime. And for the Vikings, it would really behoove them to work something out with Danielle, because yes, they could trade Danielle and then sign like Yannick the freaking Ngakoue or whatever, but I mean, Davenport is a question mark. Wanham could step up in year 4, Jones in year 3, Andre Carr the second, the UDFA. I mean, if you punt on Danielle, it gets a little bit questionable very quickly. Now, all the potential in the world, yes, but an established star on the edge, which Danielle is, nah. No. But I think cooler heads will prevail. I think Kwesi and Danielle's agent and company, I think everyone will understand that, hey, we can have the best of both worlds where Danielle gets paid this year at a market rate and the Vikings are protecting themselves against long-term cap exposure, and Danielle could get paid if he performs next season. So I think that it's something that's going to end up being worked out. I don't think that they just give away Danielle for an upgrade of fifth round picks, like the Zadarius Smith trade, where I think the Vikings are rather keen on keeping Danielle, and that's the leverage, being able to walk away from a negotiation. So your thoughts are our thoughts. Will the Vikings play hardball with Danielle Hunter? Question mark. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.